Chitra, good morning, friends. If you haven't had enough of science, if you haven't bored enough and run away from refractive surgery, if you're not started with enough complications to put you back, that why should you be doing all these things? Let me just go back on what all things and why you should be doing it. It's a very interesting part of your life that you have learned a lot of complications. We have gone through the science. But there comes the important part, what next? How will you set up your refractive practice? The will to excel, the will to deliver. Now that's, yeah, you're going back further, you know. What are the basic things that you need for a refractive suite? The rewarding, worthwhile, fruitful, paying, profitable, and money making. The required skills, of course, are very important: entrepreneurial, technical, technological, and managerial. So you just don't need to know your science, you need to be an entrepreneur, you need to put in a lot of money, and you need to be your managerial skills to manage patients, your staff, your equipments, and whatever that needs to be done on the back end. Whatever it is, focus and be on your particular subject, that everything about your business and your niche that you want to develop and show. So Einstein had said beautifully that if I had an hour to solve a problem and my life depended on the answer, I would spend the first 55 minutes figuring out the proper questions to ask. And the purpose of my talk is to stimulate what are the questions that you'll ask. You know the science, you know the equipment's available, the big array of things which are there. But how will you put it into practice, get your job done, get patients, get the required equipment? The answer will be 5 minutes if you've done 95% of your homework. It's not what you do, it's how you do it which is important. So thoughts that arise in your mind: which technology, financial support, kind of practice, marketing. So what do you need? What resources you will need in life? And that's the most important part. You will need a basic setup which has to get into your present practice and what all areas that you will designate. You need facilities where you have your staff trained. You need a good reception where you have, very important, because it's an experience that you are putting across with LASIK surgery. It's not just doing a LASIK surgery which is important, but how happy. It's not 20/20 patient, but a 20 happy patient, because you know all patients are going to ask you LASIK, will I get a 0 number after LASIK surgery? And you have to have the courage to look into their eyes and tell them that no, you will not be 0, but yet you will not be wearing glasses. And that's what is required. Counseling area, be specific. All your problems will start only in this area if you haven't spent enough time. This is the key to success. Believe me, this is something which I want you to be aware of. Counseling. That is where all your problems are and all your problems can be sorted out. Of course, you consult, you look at what are the requirements. What is it that they're looking at? What is their expectation? The LASIK surgery is nothing but the biggest game of expectation. You know, like we all have expectations from our parents, spouses, professional relations, and most expectations are never met. And LASIK is a hyper-expectant patient with all kinds of diseases. They have their problems with night driving, but they will blame you after the surgery. They have worn contact lenses for 20 years, but they'll blame you for the dryness after that. So be aware what you are saying. It's very important, your LASIK machines that you choose, because it's like a toy shop. You know how children get impressed by all those toys? They go mad when you take them into a Toys R Us shop. And here in the show that you have outside, all the areas where all the equipments are being displayed, you will be crazy to see how many equipments are being sold to you, how will you make the most of them, and how will you utilize them for your own practice. So the facility set up, you would need an examiner laser, of course, no question about it, a topolizer, an aberrometer, for your biomechanics, what Rohit was talking about earlier on, your pentacam. What is the niche? All these things are very important. It's important that you have the premium pricing, the breadth of service, what all things you offer. You offer a blade-free femto, you offer a smile. There is always huge amount of industry catching up to be done, newer and newer equipments to be taken up. What is the kind of volume you're looking at? Are you looking at the lower end market? You're looking at volume game? Are you looking at a niche market? What is it that you're looking, what is that the patients are expecting? Demographic, psychographic, low price, tight focus. Now, very important, all these things, the bottom line to your success is right here. You have to project, you have to be convinced of the process that you're doing. Most often than not, you know, the moment you dither a little bit, yeah, maybe you're okay, but you know, you may have a few complications. This is the way you start, your patients are never going to be happy. You have to be convinced in your body, mind and soul that what you're doing is the right thing for the patient. That's where you will be able to get maximum relief and the advantage of a happy patient. They may not be 20/20, but they'll be really happy if you've spoken to them very well. So as I said, counseling, utmost important. Do not underestimate this. Your communication skills are the most important thing where the patients are going to have. Your science may be good, but to explain to them post-operatively about a little halo, a little glare, a little amount of dryness, that requires a lot of pre-operative counseling. So success, failure, your medical legal problems, all there can be sorted out. It has to be having a game plan in your mind. And if you are convinced what you're doing is right, it's the best thing to go ahead with. Of course, the risks that are there, prohibitive costs, the initial and recurrent investment, the CMCs, the AMCs, you know, as Rupal and we were discussing once upon a time, most of the money, that futuristic money that you're going to earn, you're buying for the companies. So the companies already take away the money. Government has already taken your post-tax money. You know, after you pay tax, the money which is left, then you borrow from the banks, you pay the equipment guys, you keep paying the equipment guys, you keep paying the banks, you keep paying the insurance people, and baki kuch bacha to महंगाई मार गई. So be careful. It's a demanding practice, ever changing from MK to Femto to Smile, and what is there in the future. And every which way, you still can have complications from the equipment standpoint, because each machine has a mind of its own. It can decide to play pranks with you on a particular day. The humidity not correct, you have two observers in your room, and suddenly the laser is not going to give you the best kind of firing mode. You will have under correction, over correction. Demanding patience, as I said, repeat, be careful about your machine, be very careful of the environment that you're doing, and be ready that you can face any complications, be equipped with that. So how will you grow it? Of course, the biggest thing is marketing. The first market is your own mind. If you're convinced that you're going to get that, you will head northwards only, because there's a huge market to be explored. And with more and more population wanting to be more beautiful, more pretty, and Bombay Times coming up, you have a huge scope to expand everywhere. And how much to invest? All the money in the Kuber Bhandar is also not enough. So you put $500,000, $1 million, $2 million. I'm not talking of property, I'm talking of equipment. I'm not talking of the infrastructure. I'm not talking about your staff, your recurrent expenses. So be ready what you're getting into. But end of the day, it's still a wonderful thing. Go ahead with it. Hope that answers your query, rather than making you more upset with all the complications of LASIK. That go ahead with your refractive setup. How to do it? There's a will, there's a way to get it, and it's the way to go to the future. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, one and all of you. We tried to give you a gist of refractive surgery, which we could offer in 1.5 hours. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.